Why North Korea is closed to the world. Full documentary script, 30 minutes. North Korea is often called the most mysterious and isolated country on Earth. Nestled between China and South Korea, it is a land that few outsiders ever see, and even fewer understand. For decades, the country has remained tightly sealed from the world, creating a society that seems frozen in time and almost completely unknown to outsiders. Introduction: the world's most isolated nation. North Korea's isolation is legendary. Unlike most countries that embrace trade, tourism, and international engagement, North Korea has chosen a path of extreme control. The borders are heavily guarded, foreign visitors are limited, and the flow of information is tightly monitored. From television to the internet, the government decides what its citizens can see and hear. But why would a nation choose to close itself off so completely? And how has this isolation shaped the lives of its people and the country's place in the world? Historical roots of isolation. The roots of North Korea's isolation go back to the Korean War in the early 1950s. After the war, the leadership under Kim Il-sung sought to protect the country from foreign influence and external threats. The ideology of juche, or self-reliance, became the guiding principle. This philosophy emphasized independence in politics, the economy, and culture. Foreign aid, influence, or trade was seen as potentially dangerous. From that point on, North Korea began building a society that relied almost entirely on itself while keeping outsiders at bay. Controlled information. One of the most significant ways North Korea maintains its isolation is through strict control of information. Television, radio, and newspapers are state-run. The internet, available to the outside world, is completely restricted for ordinary citizens. Only a small group of elites can access global networks, and even then, under strict supervision. Education and media are used to promote state ideology, and exposure to foreign ideas is considered a threat. The government tightly monitors what its people read, watch, and even discuss in private. Border security and travel restrictions. The borders of North Korea are among the most heavily guarded in the world. Crossing into North Korea without permission is nearly impossible, and North Korean citizens are rarely allowed to travel abroad. Tourists are tightly controlled, guided at all times, and monitored closely. Foreigners must follow strict rules, with guides accompanying them everywhere. This control ensures that outside influences are minimized, and the government maintains a monopoly over information and contact with the outside world. Economic isolation. North Korea's isolation is also economic. The country has limited trade partners and relies heavily on controlled relationships with countries like China. International sanctions, combined with domestic policies, have reinforced this economic isolation. By limiting exposure to foreign economies, the government seeks to prevent dependence on outside powers and maintain strict control over domestic resources. However, this also contributes to widespread scarcity, affecting the daily lives of ordinary citizens. Cultural and social impact. The strict isolation has profound effects on North Korean society. Citizens are taught loyalty to the state and its leaders from a young age. Religion, free speech, and political dissent are strictly prohibited. The state's control reaches into every aspect of life, from education to work assignments to family activities. At the same time, this isolation has created a unique culture, shaped entirely by the government's ideology and narratives. While outsiders see North Korea as secretive and oppressive, internally, it has created a society that has remained remarkably uniform and cohesive for decades. Why the leadership maintains isolation. For North Korea's leaders, isolation is a tool of power. By controlling information, limiting contact with the outside world, and managing every aspect of society, the government ensures that its rule is unchallenged. Isolation prevents the spread of ideas that could inspire dissent or opposition. At the same time, the leadership uses isolation as propaganda, presenting the outside world as dangerous and threatening. This strengthens loyalty among citizens and justifies the strict controls in place. International perspective. From an international standpoint, North Korea's isolation makes it one of the most enigmatic countries in the world. Foreign governments struggle to engage with its leadership, understand its policies, or access reliable information. This isolation fuels global intrigue, speculation, and concern. Despite this, North Korea occasionally opens small windows to the outside world, such as controlled tourism, diplomatic meetings, and selective media coverage, but always on its terms. The human cost. While isolation allows the government to maintain control, it comes with significant human costs. Ordinary citizens face shortages of food, limited access to medicine, and restricted opportunities. Communication with family members abroad is nearly impossible, and the outside world remains largely invisible to most people. Yet within this restricted environment, North Korea has created a society that has survived and remained cohesive for decades, even under intense international pressure and sanctions. Conclusion: isolation as strategy. North Korea's isolation is not accidental. It is deliberate and multifaceted. From controlling borders and information to restricting economic activity and cultural exchange, the country has built one of the most controlled societies on Earth. For the leadership, isolation is a tool to maintain power, prevent outside influence, and protect the state ideology. For citizens, it shapes daily life in ways that are both restrictive and defining. In a world where openness, globalization, and connectivity are the norm, North Korea stands as a stark contrast. A country that chose to close itself to the world and maintain its own version of survival and control. This isolation is not just a policy, it is the foundation of North Korea's identity and governance, and it remains one of the most powerful and mysterious examples of a nation controlling its people and information on a massive scale.